Hello there, Renata's here, transformational coach, clarity breathwork facilitator, and today I want to touch the topic of suffering and when suffering becomes your best friend. And here we are humans, we really like to hold on to things, whether servicing it or not. And I have a saying, or a very ancient saying, what suffering means. Suffering means eating poison and hoping that your enemy will die. And that's basically what's happening to suffering. Suffering happened, a story have happened, or something been created in certain time and space. And suffering that been created afterwards is something that you're holding on to. Basically, this story and this moment in your life have happened for that amount of time. And then the story that your mind is telling you and activating your emotions. Possible you're already in a physical suffering also. It's like the next stages that's happening after this have event or something that you have discovered for yourself. And the mind likes to really milk out on things, like something happens and it creates an emotion and a thought, and then adding to it and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. And before you know it, you have created a version, a story of whatever have happened, magnifying that 100 times or thousands, millions of times, where the mind just milking it and milking it and milking it, creating more. And then you have all the justification, all the evidence, but this has happened and now this is what's happening, and anger comes in and more suffering. And sometimes it's anger and sometimes it's total withdrawal. You either jumping out or shutting down. Both of them are creating suffering to the story. And I have this image of somebody who's basically are in their own mind and puddle, or it's not even a puddle, it's like their own river or ocean that been created through thought and emotion, and drowning. So how to throw a life jacket to yourself when you find yourself in this puddle, river or ocean of emotion and thought? What would be the life jacket? What would be the life jacket that you can actually throw yourself to stop yourself from drowning? And the first life jacket that you can throw to yourself, or the first emergency rescue that you can do, is pause. It's pause, and it's like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And the next thing that I'd like to throw to my clients, or at some point to myself, is I'm the master of my own disaster. And if I can create hell, I can create heaven. And taking full responsibility that whatever have happened at this moment, it's your own creation. And yes, do you have the evidence of someone else doing it to you or not doing it to you, how life was fair or not fair to you? And there's many stories around it. And as long as you victimizing yourself and make yourself powerless, that it was down to you, no life jacket will help. And I'm being damn serious. No life jacket will help. How to start putting on this life jacket, or kind of getting comfortable and saying, wow, wait a minute. It's understand that you are very comfortable in your victim role. And once you're victimizing yourself, the comfort of being victim is you have a very supporting story, and you hold yourself hostage in the story, and you're holding everybody else hostage in the story. And the victim is basically milking on it, milking. Why me? Why it was done to me? And the more you're victimizing yourself, the more heavier you become, and it's becoming hard for this pool of water or pool of emotions and thought to hold you, because you're just drowning. You can drown yourself to a point of non-existence at all. I mean, people and then dying, thinking like life was so unfair to me, right? And creating your own death through suffering. And so the first, it's pausing, wait a minute, what's happening here? Second one is taking responsibility and taking the steps of, wait a minute, how did I create this? What thoughts and emotions have brought me here? And really investigating your thoughts and emotions, taking responsibility for your own thoughts and your own emotion in this creation. And then if you want to get even deeper into that, rescue operation, right? Why was I holding on to those thoughts and those emotions that were destroying me, right? And most of the time you just want to pause on life, you don't want to be active in life, and you're holding on to something that's taking you down instead of something that is supporting you. And now the next question, how can I support myself? What will actually make me feel better? What thoughts I need to let go of? What wounds needs to be healed? Now you're giving yourself permission for healing. How can I start healing from that time and place? And then taking the actions. And the action could be maybe just witnessing when is the emotions or the thought is happening. Maybe allowing yourself to get support system that can help you to get out of there. If I cannot do it by myself, maybe someone else can help me to get out from here. And we're living in a time and place where there's tons of support right now. People are kind of witnessing and being aware. Listen, I'm done with the suffering. I'm done with this. What is the next step? How can I get myself out of it? So first, really making a contract with your suffering. I am done. I'm done being your best friend. And I don't need you to be my best friend anymore. Thank you for being honest with me and coming to this completion of the friendship of suffering. And who would be your next best friend? If it's not suffering, then what do you choose? And maybe the choice is going to be responsibility, letting go of the victim, finding another way, looking for support. How can I be my own best friend? And remembering, if I can create hell, I can create heaven. I'm a very powerful creation. And reversing all of the steps that took you all the way down, and now taking step by step by step by step by step and pulling yourself up. And if suffering was your best friend or is your best friend at this moment, I hope some of the clues that I threw in here were helpful. I hope you will take the next step to take yourself out of there. And that's the best thing that you can do for yourself and for the world. Stopping your own victimization and make best friends with yourself. I love you, and I'm wishing you lots of love, light, and laughter.